Alrighty kids, I hope you understand that I love you very much because this is the third stupid time I've had to do this because the first two had no sound. So, I'm going to do it again. Let's go ahead and take a look at all these examples. Now I had a lot of people ask what I needed to see on these questions as far as answers go and what the question was asking for, so I'm going to explain it to you now. So hopefully you check these videos. The question says rewrite and evaluate. So rewrite means to rewrite it in fractional form. Once you've written it in fractional form, oops, that should be over 7. Sorry. You're going to put that in the calculator, 13 to the power of 1 divided by 7, and your answer is going to be an approximation of what the calculator says. Okay. Next one, exact same deal. Rewrite, this will be 37 to the power of 3 over 4, and you're going to put that in the calculator, 37 to the power of 3 divided by 4, and your answer is approximately 15. Approximately 15. Okay. The next two, we're just rewriting these to simplify. So when you're raising a power to a power, you are multiplying those two things together. So 3/4 times 12. Since it's a whole number, I'm going to put it over 1 to make it a little easier on myself. That gives me x to the power of 36 over 4. Don't want that because 36/4 can be reduced to 9. So this will be f of x equals x to the power of 9. Next one, when we are dividing powers of the same base, we subtract them. We've talked about this before as well. So g to the power of x equals x to the power of 4 over 5 minus 2 over 5. Now, lucky for us, they already have common denominators, so we don't have to actually do anything else. We just need to subtract the numerators, which would give us x to the power of 2 over 5. So g of x equals x to the power of 2 over 5. And I'm good with that. You don't need to change that back to a radical. On to the next one. If we're going to solve these equations, you can do it by calculator. That's certainly possible. I'm going to do it on paper because these aren't that bad. So first thing you want to do is get the radical isolated. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3, which leaves me with square root of x plus 3 equals 5. Then I square both sides, which gives me x plus 3 equals 25. Then I need to solve, or say minus 3, and x should equal 22. This one you'll need to put in interval notation because there is an x in the problem. However, you can't do it yet. You have to make sure that answer is correct. So we're going to plug this in and make sure the left side is the same as the right. Plugging in 22 for x, this becomes 3 radical 25 equals 15. Square root of 25 is 5. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 does equal 15, so we're good. And x is 22. This is x, not this. So make sure that when you're showing these, that you use the right x for this problem. Okay, next one, same deal, except it's already isolated, so we have to square both sides. Now, I'm going to assume a couple of things about you at this point, that you know how to square that. Remember, it's going to be x minus 3 times x minus 3. I'll assume that you can get those two terms multiplied together, and that would give us x squared minus 6x plus 9. On the other side, all it does is cancel the radical. Then we are going to move everything to one side so we can see if this is factorable, which leaves me with x squared minus 7x minus 18 equals 0. Again, I am going to assume that you can factor this. This is a pretty simple one. We need numbers that multiply to negative 18 and add up to negative 7. Those numbers are negative 9 and positive 2. Now remember here, these are not your numbers. You would set these equal to 0 and then solve. So one should be x equals 9, the other should be x equals negative 2. Again, now that we have two solutions or possible solutions, we have to go back, plug them in to see if those solutions are extraneous or not. So the first one is 9. Say 9 minus 3 is equal to the square root of 9 plus 27. Well, 9 minus 3 is 6. 9 plus 27 is 36. The square root of 36 is 6. So we're good. That is one solution, 9. The other one is still a possible solution, but we have to check it. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. It's going to be negative 2 minus 3 equals square root of negative 2 plus 27. This negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. Negative 2 plus 27 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. But negative 5 and 5 are not equal. So this would be erroneous or extraneous. Okay? And we have one solution. On to the other side. Now there's a bunch of stuff up here. It says for questions 7 and 8, you may solve them however you wish. That means you can use the calculator on these if you want. It says, however, if either equation or question contains an answer that is erroneous or false, and you find it, circle your answer next to your work. It could be worth bonus points. I'm going to go ahead and say it will be worth bonus points. Be sure to put the correct answer in the answer blank. Well, both of our answers here are going to be in interval notation, whether they're there or not. Okay. Now, this one is actually exactly the same as the one we just did, so we're going to follow the same steps to get there. We are going to square both sides. Again, magic multiplying gives us x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals x minus 3. Move everything to one side. Gives us x squared minus 11x plus 28 equals 0. Find the two factors here. What multiplies to 28 and adds up to negative 11? It happens to be minus 7 and minus 4 equals 0, which means my solutions are going to be x equals positive 7 and x equals positive 4. Now, we could have one solution, we could have two solutions, or we could have none. We need to check our solutions here. So I'm going to start with the 7. 7 minus 5 equals square root of 7 minus 3. 7 minus 5 is 2. 7 minus 3 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. We are good. So 7 is a solution. We're now going to check the other one. So it becomes 4 minus 5 equals the square root of 4 minus 3. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. This is not true, which means that this is erroneous or extraneous, and this is worth bonus points. Then we have just the one solution. The last one is obviously the hardest one. Now, this one, you can certainly use the calculator if you're not 100% on it, but what I would say is that minus in the middle makes it a little bit easier for us to manage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate a radical by adding square root of x minus 1 to both sides, which gives me square root of x plus 3 is equal to 2 plus square root of x minus 1. Once I've got this radical isolated, I can square both sides, okay, which gives me x plus 3 on this side. And again, I'm going to assume that you know how to multiply these two things, and it will give me 4 plus 4 square root x minus 1 plus x minus 1. This is what happens when you square that. This is what happens when you multiply this times each other twice. And this is what happens when you multiply that radical together. So the next step that I would take here would be to combine like terms. I've got a 4 here and a minus 1 here. So I'm going to go ahead and rearrange. I'm going to bring that x up to the front. 4 minus 1, that's going to give me a positive 3. This plus 4 radical x minus 1 is just going to stick around over here. Then I want to do what we did so we can have it look like this problem up here and move everything away from this radical. So I need to subtract x and subtract 3, subtract x, subtract 3, which is going to give me a 0 over here, and then just 4 radical x minus 1 over here. Now, to solve this, I need to divide both sides by 4. 0 divided by 4 is still 0, which gives me radical x minus 1. I am then going to square both sides. Guess what? 0 squared is also 0. 0 equals x minus 1, so I would add 1 to both sides, and I'm going to get 1 equals x. This is my possible solution. To check it, again, I need to plug it in. So I'm going to say square root of 1 plus 3 minus square root of 1 minus 1 equals 2. Plugging that x value into the x values from the original question. 1 plus 3 is 4. 1 minus 1 is 0. Equals 2. Square root of 0, guess what? Also 0. So we could ignore that. Leaves with the square root of 4 equals 2. Square root of 4 is 2. So we are good to go. That is a correct statement. And it's the only solution we had. We only had to check one this time. But remember, this is not your answer. This is your answer. So the solution is 1. So please make sure that you check this, study this, practice this. You can do it, and good luck tomorrow.